Welcome to part 3, configuration continued using CL Manager. Throughout PowerHA's history, it has lacked a consistent, well-documented, thoroughly supported CLI. Configuration and control of PowerHA has been largely left to SMIT. In 2006, HACMP 5.4 introduced a new utility called CLVT that provided a glimmer of hope. CLVT was developed as a tool for use by Smart Assist to perform configuration tasks at command line level. However, its capabilities were limited to those needed by Smart Assist, and very little was done to update CLVT utility beyond that needed for Smart Assist and later releases. This lack of a robust CLI changes now with PowerHA 7.1. A substantial amount of development effort was expended to polish up the CLVT interface and complete its capabilities. This was mainly done for the IBM Systems Director plugin, which is new also at 7.1. CLVT has now emerged into a new command called CL Manager. So let's take a look. Here we are, folks, back in our cluster node following part 2. What we have here is on our 2-node cluster we have a valid synchronized cluster definition on both of our nodes, HA71A and HA71B. And the first thing that I'm going to use CL Manager for is removing the cluster definition. Now, historically, the way you would do that with PowerHA is you would use the CLR and cluster command. Now, you got to be careful with version 7.1 because what CLR and cluster does is just basically blow away the PowerHA ODM definitions, and it does that exactly the same way in 7.1 as it did in previous versions. So what you have if we were to execute that command is it removes the PowerHA cluster but leaves the CAA cluster intact. So it just makes it a little bit more messy to go and poke around with RM cluster commands to go and clean up CAA. So the easiest way to do that is to clean up both at the same time, and use CL Manager to do that with RM cluster nodes equal all, and just answer yes, and that just takes a couple of seconds and cleans up the cluster configuration. When that's completed, just double check on both nodes that your topology has been deleted, and importantly that your CAA disk, which was HDISC6, has been renamed back to HDISC6, and the CAA repository volume group has been deleted. And do check that on both of your nodes. So that looks pretty good, and CL Manager has cleaned up the cluster configuration. So what I would like to do is, in part 2 we saw the configuration using SMIT, and what I've done now is I've written a script, clmgr.sh, that does exactly the same thing that I did in part 2, but just part of a simple script. So here that we have CL Manager add cluster. It creates the cluster Grumpy cluster with the repository disks HDISC6 on nodes A and B. We add the service address to the network, Grumpy serve. We add the application controller using the Grumpy stop and start scripts. We add the resource group with nodes HA71A and HA71B, with A as the highest priority. The policies there, it uses these acronyms, so I know perfectly well that OHN means online on home node only and fall back to the next priority node, and fall over to the next priority node and never fall back. If you want to see the acronyms for all the other options you've got, just simply check the PowerHA documentation. And then we add the 3 simple things into the resource group, which is the service address, the application controller, and the volume group. Once we've done that, we can sync the cluster, and then one cluster synced, we can start the cluster on both nodes with CL Manager start cluster command. One of the things that I actually wanted to do, in fact, I'm just going to edit this script, and the final command here, the CL add application monitor. Unfortunately, I discovered a bug in this release, 7.1 Service Pack 3, which actually this command actually fails. So I just went back up here and did it the older style way. So this is the version 5 and version 6 command. So hopefully at some point development will pick up on that, or somebody will raise a PMR, and development will go and fix that. So I'm just going to add the monitor to DD and paste that, so we can add the monitor after the before the synchronization. And then to configure the cluster, it's just a simple matter of running the script. And there we have it, folks. Cluster configuration using a simple command line configuration tool. Okay, we're going to see some more of CL Manager in part 4 when we have a take a look at PowerHA in action. Thank you.